Okanagan Valley Radio is pleased to present For the Health of It with Tania Gustafson. Tania is an internationally certified and licensed nutritionist and fitness coach, helping people to live longer, stronger, healthier lives, naturally. Currently, Tania is one of the only 5 health professionals in Canada coaching people on how to use blood sugar stabilization to lose weight and achieve and maintain their health goals without dieting. For the Health of It is a weekly podcast where Tania will be sharing practical health tips and strategies, along with the occasional recipe and guest speakers with information that will ultimately spark healthy changes. Because as Tania says, if you don't take care of your body, where will you live? And now here's your host, Tania Gustafson.
Good morning, everyone. It's Tania Gustafson, your nutritionist and fitness coach from Fit Nutrition. Welcome to this morning's episode of For the Health of It. Glad to have you joining with us today. I hope everyone had a great week and enjoying this really mild weather we're having out there. Wow, today as I'm recording this for the show, it's really nice blue sky out there and white fluffy clouds, and I am just can hardly believe it that it's January in Canada and this is happening. So I'll take it, right? I don't know who else is out there with me, but although shoveling is a great exercise, it's not one of my favorite exercises. So I know there's a lot of people out there cheering for that there's no snow, and I feel bad for all the snowboarders and cross-country skiers and stuff like that, but there is some up there on the hills that you can enjoy, so hopefully you're out there doing that, getting outside and still getting in some exercise this time of year. So what we want to talk about today, that sort of segues into today's episode. Last week we talked about detoxing, right? The who's, whys, and wherefores of detoxing, who should do it, how to do it safely, all that. And that is the beginning of a really great program because when you start off with a detox, we talked about that. It cleans out your colon, liver, and kidney. You start with a clean slate. It's like changing the oil in your car, changing the oil and filter, and you just start with everything clean and fresh, and you can move on from there. So, and then what do you do after that, right? So you'll know that if you've been following my column or if you've been listening to the podcast for a while that I advocate blood sugar stabilization as a way to eat the way our bodies are designed to metabolize food. And so that never changes. What we put into our body a lot of the times will change, and that's why we needed to do that detox, get the refresh going on, and just put some healthier, better quality items in, get rid of the packaged, get rid of the processed. And, really never packaged and processed is never really a good idea to add in. And although we do it once in a while, right, that's not the what we do once in a while isn't what causes our downfall. It's what we do continuously over that long period of time consistently. So if we are consistent more of the time with good things than bad things, then of course we will have better results. And to be consistent more of the time, I'm not meaning, 4 times out of 5 4 times we're doing bad things and 5 times we're doing good things where it's just that one extra time is better. You're not going to notice a whole lot of difference doing it that way. I'm kind of thinking that the 8 to 9 times out of 10, you're choosing the right things over the wrong things and, over a long period of time, right? So we want to do that. Think about when you're building your house, our health is something we want to build on. So if you're building, take a visual in your mind here. I know it's hard with radio, but that's why I like to use these little analogies. If you, have a long 2x4, say a 14-foot 2x4, if you've ever built something or helped somebody out in the yard with building fences and things like that, you get those really long 2x4s. And if you are out just that 1/16 of an inch on the one end, you're thinking, it's not so bad, it'll be fine, no one will notice. If you did that consistently, you're way out inches on the other end by the time you get to the end of your project, and it's very visible, it's very noticeable. Same thing with our health. We might be off just a little bit, but if we're off a little bit once in a while, it's okay. If we're off a little bit consistently all the time, all those things add up, and it's just like that 2x4 at the very end or several years down the road when we're talking about our health, then it's like, wow, we really notice we've done some things. So after we're detoxing, we can head into something called ignite phase. And so that's where your body will turn on the metabolism. And how do people really want their metabolism to turn on? That's kind of a buzzword, right? They're like, oh my gosh, my metabolism is so slow, I can't lose weight, or wow, how come your metabolism is so fast, or my husband's metabolism is so fast. You've heard all these phrases, and people either talking about someone else's who's good or complaining that theirs is not so great, right? So what do we do to turn on our metabolism? Well, we did a good start with the detox to flush out all the gunk, right? We don't want to be slogging through a whole lot of mess. And we clean all that garbage out. So now we've done all that pre-work. We've lost the bloat. So we've lost some weight. And a lot of times people can lose between 3 and 10 pounds in a detox week. And that's the stuff that your body is carrying around in your system, in your colon, liver, and kidney, water, weight, all those extra kinds of things. It's called bloat. It's not really official weight. It's inflated weight. So that's all your bloat and all your toxins and all things that are collected in your system in various places. And I know right now you're going, ew, right? Yeah, absolutely ew. Because when they're sitting in there and not passing through at a proper rate and getting eliminated properly, then it's sitting there becoming toxic. And then it's seeping into your body. And then we get those things like brain fog, and we get tired, and we get irritable, and we get grumpy, and we get, just feeling stressed. And because all those things build up. So we detox them out. It's a bit of work doing the detox. We talked about that. Sometimes you're going to feel that tired, foggy nastiness as your body detoxes because it's a lot of work. But we work through that, and then now we're all ready to ignite our metabolism, turn it on, and keep it on. So if you do it right, if you're eating your proteins, fats, and carbs within the hour of when you get up, and you're eating those healthy carbs, not those processy things, right? Your fruits and your vegetables, your good stuff, then what happens is you turn that metabolism on, and your body starts releasing fat. And whether, you have tanked your metabolism in the past by crash dieting or whatever, it's okay. It will come back. So it might be slow to start with. You're like, oh, my metabolism is so slow. That's all right. Give it some time. It will catch up. Because what you've done, you can undo. Okay, so think about that. Just remember, hang on to that. It's true. It will work. So whatever you've done to tank your metabolism, you can do it the other way, turn it around, and your metabolism will start turning on and working for you and for your body. And pretty soon you will be a lean, mean, fat-burning machine. Now, if there are those people out there too that are like, well, I'm not overweight. I don't need to do this. Well, I challenge you then to go and have your body fat percentage taken, okay? And because your doctor will do your BMI. And that's still pretty mainstream, but we're moving towards the body fat percentage because it's a far more accurate measurement. Everybody understands percent. So ladies, if you're listening out there, and why I'm suggesting people get a body fat percentage test and not a BMI. BMI sometimes will be skewed. It will give people a false sense of, oh, I'm in the safe zone, or an incorrect sense of, oh, I'm not in the safe zone, when really they are. So because it's too big of a range. So we want to go with percent. And some people, like, they say, well, I don't need to worry because I'm not overweight, I'm fine, whatever. Sometimes, though, depending, you can have that skinny fat person. And what that means is that although they don't look overweight, their weight number on the scale might be fine, they might fit into their clothes okay, they're not really unhappy with how they are, but their body fat percentage is such that they are higher than what is a safe number for them. And living in that space then puts you at risk for things like diabetes and heart disease and high blood pressure and all those things that come with being overweight, even if you're not looking like you're overweight. You're overweight on the inside, right? And we talked about when the fat is stored on the inside, where does it go? It gets packed around our organs. Our organs have to slog through the muck, and there we go again. So that's why we want to get that checked. So you can get that done. I do that for my clients in my office. You can have that done at your gym, your trainer. You can order yourself a little handheld Tania scale from online, from Amazon. You can buy the scales that you stand on, and it will give you your weight and your body fat percentage as well. And honestly, sometimes there's a discrepancy, a little bit between here and there in scales, and that's normal. Same with your weight. But if you're using the same scale on a consistent basis, you'll notice you're either going up or down, right? In either way, it's the measuring tool is the same. Therefore, you're going to be able to measure consistent results, either going down or up. So for ladies, we want to be 25% or lower. So between 20 and 25% is considered your healthy range. Below 20%, we're going to get into that fit level. And not to say that you're not fit between 20 and 25%. That's just a good, healthy range to be in. It's an easy place to achieve. Go down a little bit more, you're in the fit level. Go down some more, you're in the performance level. We don't want to go lower than 12%. That messes with our hormones and bodily systems as ladies, and it's very, very difficult to get down there anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about that. For gentlemen, you want to be under the 17% mark. Men have lower body fat percentage naturally to start out with, so they have a lower top danger zone than we do. So between 12 and 17%, guys, you want to be in that range. If you're over that, again, like I said, ladies or gentlemen, over those two numbers, depending on where you are, it's not healthy. And living in that place puts you at risk. We don't know when each person will develop something. We just know that it will. Okay? And we don't know why, or we don't know when, rather, because everybody's body is different. Right? And everybody's stress level is different. Everybody's exercise level is different. Everybody's DNA is a little bit different because we know our DNA plays about 30% of the role of our health. So, you know, there's that little bit that comes into play as well. So, there's all those things. So you want to get your body fat percentage taken. And I'll just tell you a little story here. I had a lady come into me a few years back. She was probably early 60s. And very tiny little lady. She only weighed 116 pounds. That's right, 116, right? So she's pretty tiny. And she was complaining that, you know, she was feeling a little bit flabby around the middle and things like that. And you're probably thinking, wow, what a bad problem to have. She only weighs 116 pounds. How bad can it be? So you remember that for ladies, we want to be at our top body fat percentage range. We want to be at 25, right? That's the top end. So when I took her body fat percentage, did the little measurement scale with her, it was 34%, just over 34%. So she was almost 10 points higher than what is known as safe, and that's why she was feeling squishy around the middle. So although she didn't look like a really overweight person, her body fat percentage was registering as if she were. And even though the story gets even more interesting, she eats very, very healthy and very, very lean and clean, but not enough. Her meals are too small. She was not eating enough times throughout the day, and she was working out like crazy. She had very strenuous workouts. And so she was, in fact, actually burning muscle as she was working out. And so if you don't have enough muscle, we know from we talked about that before, that it's, you know, it's like that having that one person. You're working in the yard all by yourself to trying to move that pile of bark mulch, shoveling it around your yard. Whereas if you had the whole family out there, you get through it really quickly, right? So if you're burning off muscle, that's kind of like you're only left with that one person doing the shoveling. And the shoveling of what? Of the fat. So as you build your muscle back up, you've got more muscle to then shovel faster, to shovel out the fat, get rid of it out of your body. So that is why we want to turn on our metabolism. We want to know where our body fat percentage is. And as we're turning on our metabolism, your body is going to be releasing the fat. That muscle takes it up, uses it as energy, and makes us feel really great. We have lots of energy then to get through our day. We usually have energy to spare at the end of the day because we are, you know, running on good fuel. Because it takes good fuel to put into your body to get these things to happen. You're not going to get the same results. Although you can balance some of those packaged things, you're not going to get the same results by putting a packaged or processed carbohydrate in your body as you will by using your fruits and vegetables. So we want to think about that, right? Quality is best for sure. And you think about your car. You know, do you want your car to perform like a Ferrari or kind of like the jalopy, the winter beater? Well, you know, think about it. If you want to perform it like a Ferrari, you want it to perform like a Ferrari, you got to treat it like one. So you're going to put the good fuel in, right? You wouldn't take your Ferrari to the gas station and put in regular fuel. Just saying. So if you want to treat your body like that, if you want to get the results like that, you got to treat it like that. So turning on our metabolism, we still are eating our PFCs every 3. In detox, we eliminated some of those foods, right? We talked about eliminating a few things, and if you missed the show, you can go back and listen to that. It's in the podcast vault, in the archive there. And so some of the foods we're going to stay eliminated, sugar, salt, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, all those kinds of things like that. Anything that's in a package, box, bag, wrapper, can. Eliminate those. And we're going to bring back in, you can bring back in your beef, pork and lamb. You can bring back in your egg yolks. You can bring back in the dense beans, the things you'd make chili out of. Leave the white potatoes alone and put in a yam or a sweet potato. Grains are optional. They're always optional. Definitely not in detox. I would say don't use them in detox, but you can bring them back in the ignite phase. Now, grains are something else that is depending on the person too, right? Because grains have something in them called lectins. So do some of the other foods that we talked about, but grains primarily have a lot of them in them. Lectin, like gluten, is a lectin, and our bodies are designed to get rid of these things and work through them, get rid of them, because too many of them in our bodies isn't ideal. But food has changed so much over the past 100 years that our body hasn't been able to catch up. Our bodies are great healing machines. They're great adapters, and they're designed to go with the flow, so to speak. But the flow has been going a lot faster than we can catch up. So for a lot of people, it's resulted in gluten intolerances, gluten allergies, celiacs, leaky gut is a huge one, which then causes a whole lot of other things come from that, because stuff that is supposed to be contained in your body has now seeped through the stomach walls and has gone running amok through the rest of your system.
You're listening to Tania Gustafson's For the Health of It, exclusively on OkanaganValleyRadio.com. And now let's get back to the show.
So yes, igniting your body, getting it going, and those little the leaky gut and the things that are escaping through the intestinal walls and through the stomach wall into the body is not doing you any favors. So if you're finding that sometimes when you're trying to lose weight or you're trying to achieve some health goals and the progress is really slow, although you're following the program and you're doing what's recommended and you think you're doing a really good job, I then would suggest that you go in and have an allergy test, have some testing done there by a naturopath, or have your blood work done and see what is coming up with a sensitivity or an intolerance or an allergy, because any of those things may be causing you to slow down or stop your weight loss. Okay, you might come to a complete standstill. And so this is what happens with a few clients of mine doing really, really great. And then, with detox, and then as things started to be added back in, there was kind of a plateau that she couldn't really break through. So after getting tested and then figuring out what foods she was allergic to or what were classified as intolerances, things like that, and eliminating those, then she was free and clear and the progress was starting again. Because what that was doing was, if you think about that inside your body, kind of like a bucket, okay? And I think we've talked about this before. As things fill up and as long as the bucket's not overflowing, there doesn't seem to be too much of a problem. We don't notice it so much. But as that bucket gets more full, and then it starts to dribble over the top and spill over a little bit, that's when undesirable results start to happen. So if it's for weight loss and you're trying to lose weight, it will stop and you will plateau and you won't be able to move any further. So what you need to do is address what is causing my body this stress. And a lot of times it's because there are too many things that have been that aren't agreeing with you that you're putting in your body, filling that bucket up, overflowing. And the bucket overflowing is sort of indicative of the leaky gut, right? So it's leaking into your body, whereas things that were supposed to have been contained inside that stomach are now seeping through your body, and it's going places they shouldn't be, causing your body to react. So your body's now working on getting rid of those things as opposed to cooperating with you, and everything comes to a big standstill. So that's just a few tips there. If you're having some trouble and you're finding that things aren't working, then you need to go and get that checked. And it may be things that you had never thought about before that that might be sensitive to, like it could be some spices or herbs. It could be a certain fruit or vegetable. It could be several things combined. And a lot of times we eat foods in big combinations, and so we don't really know what's affecting us. So for example, pizza. Okay, there's sugar, salt, dairy, gluten, soy sometimes, and just a whole lot of things, different spices, all crammed together on one dish. And depending on, where you ate it, who made it, what was the toppings on it, whatever, you might feel okay one time and feel not okay another time. Or it might be that you've had a whole lot of foods that bothered you that week, and that was the tipping point. You ate something that you never thought would bother you, and you're just thinking, wow, why am I feeling so not so great? Why is my stomach all upset? Things like that. And that's that bucket overflowing. Whereas you may have had another week where you've been really good with the foods that agree with you or don't agree with you, even if you're not knowing it, just kind of by happenstance, you've managed to stay away from things that bothered you. So you've had a really great week, and then you go and eat that same item again, that kind of put you over the edge before, and it doesn't. And so now people are confused, and they're like, well, why did it happen last time and not this time? So I do encourage to go and get checked out and see what may be getting in the way of your progress, because we want to minimize that so that you can get success and, get the weight loss, get the weight off, keep it off, keep your metabolism turned on. And then as you eliminate those foods that don't agree with you, for a certain amount of time, your body can then heal and repair and get back to normal. And then it's not like that you have to give up these foods forever and ever. It's a period of time to allow it to heal. It's sort of like, and then of course, not putting tons of them back into your body all at once. If you're aware of something that's bothering you, or that you may be sensitive to, you want to do the work, you want to get everything fixed up, and then you want to just try a little bit and see if it's going to work or not. And then you don't want to push it. So, but you want to make sure everything is healed properly, and you're feeling good before you go and do that. Because it's sort of like if you had a scab, you scratch your arm, you have a cut in your arm, and it's healing, and then, you pick the scab off. Okay, well, it's kind of healed, but then you picked it off, so now it's got to heal again. It's the same thing. If you don't let things work long enough, if you don't let your body heal long enough and well enough, you just undid all the good that you did. And then you have to start from square one again. And that happens for a lot of people because we get impatient. And I understand that, because food is not like other things that we have to avoid in our life. It's really hard to avoid food because we need it to survive. We need it to live. It's part of all of our social interactions. It's a big deal. And so learning how to do it in a way that's going to service you, that you can enjoy it, that you can then also be a healthy weight, that you can also have the right energy and have as few health issues as possible. Putting that all together sometimes can seem a little bit daunting, but just I encourage you, don't give up and keep working towards that, because it's so totally worth it. It's always a choice. And as we're making better choices, then we can create the health that we, as we get older, especially, that we can enjoy, and not the health that we get to suffer with. There's a lot of people out there that are suffering with the health that they've chosen, and they just kind of think, well, that's just because I'm older. Things happen as I get older. Things happen mostly as a result of doing that same thing over and over and over again for a long period of time. So then if something's taken a long time to occur, it's not going to just go away overnight. So same with weight loss. We have to work on that. People do get results on diets. Absolutely they do. And that's why diets are so popular. People want the results instantly, and then they can't maintain it. And so then it becomes, just a wash, and they start all over again. And so I encourage you to do those things consistently that are good for your body in a way that balances your body. Create that homeostasis. Eat your PFCs every 3, your protein, fat, and carb, within that hour of when you get up in the morning. Every 3 to 4 hours throughout the day, up until about an hour and a half before you go to bed at night. That's what will turn on your metabolism. And then with detox, we had said eliminate the exercise, right? Because it's work for our body to detox. So now, as we are we've finished our detox, you can definitely add that exercise back in. Now, everybody has their own level of exercise, their own level of commitment, their own level of what I think I can do, or what I will do, or what I want to try. And I always encourage people to try something new. Number one, if you've never tried anything, just get out there and try a few things and see what you like. Pick something that you love so that you can keep doing it. And also, make sure you do something that's that you're going to fit it into a time schedule that you're going to be able to maintain that consistently. So something you like and something that you can keep doing. Because we want to make sure that it's not just a random thing that you accidentally happen to fit into your schedule. We want to put something in there that it's going to be consistent. And then because your weight loss is made in the kitchen. We've talked about that before with the food, the right balance, getting rid of all the crap, putting good things into your body, and then your fitness level is made in the gym. So although it's important to lose the weight, we can reduce a lot of and reverse a lot of disease. We can lose a lot of weight. We can improve a lot of health issues just by using our food. And when we've learned how to master that properly, now we put in the exercise so that we can also make our heart and lungs strong and our muscles strong, especially as we're aging. And I say this word aging, and that can be for anybody, because there's a lot of sedentary kids out there too, and teenagers. There's a lot of people that can't even do a 1 or 2 push-ups, and they're in their 20s. Those kinds of things are alarming, because if we don't have the strength, if we're not using our body weight, if we're not lifting, moving, pulling, pushing like we used to do on the farm, quote unquote, years ago. I actually grew up on a farm, but there was a lot more outside happening, a lot more things happening outside, a lot more physical type things happening. Whereas now society as a whole tends to spend a lot more time indoors, a lot more time sitting, a lot more time at screens. And so that's why gyms are so popular and classes are so popular, because it forces you to go and to get out and to move. And you need to also make sure that, like I said, to have some strength components in there, because that will help your bone density to remain strong as you grow older. It helps to prevent muscle loss as you grow older, and atrophy and all those things, because really that old saying, if you don't use it, you'll lose it, is absolutely true. So we want to have something that that we enjoy, that we can continue doing on a regular basis, that works into our schedule so that we can't, ditch it, and that gets us moving, gets you sweating. Sweating is a great thing to do because it eliminates toxins. So we want to continuously eliminate toxins. Even if you think, well, I'm not putting anything bad in my body anymore, well, that's great, but you can't control the environment around you. You can't control maybe the environment of your work. You can't control, there's certain things we can't control. And so still, there are toxins. There are things, it happens. So you want to make sure that you're doing that, plus which that also helps to relieve your stress. Exercise is a huge stress reliever. So sometimes people get really frustrated and they want to reach for a drink, or they want to reach for a cigarette, or they want to, they're just angry and they go and sit and watch TV. The best thing to do is get outside and run. It doesn't even cost you anything. Get on the grass, take your shoes off, and run around your yard for a minute, vigorously, or run up and down the stairs a few times, or, run to the end of the street and back, or pick up some heavy things and move them around the yard. Things like that don't cost you anything, but they will definitely get your heart rate up. They'll get you sweating, which is amazing. It will release the endorphins. You'll start to feel better, reduces your stress, brings it down, and then that night when you go to bed, you will sleep much better as well. Because stress and sleep, as we know from our first series of the 6 components of health, stress and lack of sleep go hand in hand, and those are not very good bedfellows to have going and working against you together. We don't want those. We want to avoid that. We want to keep our stress level down. We want to keep our sleep up. And and putting all those together and igniting our metabolism. So eating within the hour of when you get up, eating your PFCs every 3, that ignites your metabolism. Putting your exercise back in helps to then build some more muscle, which then can actually burn off more fat as your body releases it. And so then you become this wonderful cycle of a fat burning machine like we talked about. And who doesn't want to be that, right? It helps you protect your muscle. It helps you build more lean muscle on top of that. And maybe ladies, I know my mom, for one, was one of these people that was saying, well, building muscle, I don't want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I said, well, Mom, take a look at me. I've been lifting weights for over, 30 years, and I don't look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. So I'm in good shape, and I have some definition, and I am strong, but I don't look like a bodybuilder, like a male bodybuilder is what she was worried about. So ladies, if that's your concern, if that's your thought before, and you're like, I don't know if I want to do weights, you don't actually necessarily have to do the weights, like at the gym. You can do something with your own body weight. Either way, you will not end up looking like something you're not meant to be. You will just be creating healthier, stronger muscles. You'll be supporting and encouraging your bone density to remain strong. And those are really good things that we want to have. Also, that little burst of energy that requires, as you're lifting weights or using your own body weight, as in push-ups or in squats or in burpees or running stairs, things like that, that also burns through the sugars so you can get to the fat faster. So you want to do those as well. And we'll touch on that next time about how to do the different exercises and what they're all about and when you should do them and the best way to combine them. And so we'll work on that next time. So yes, you're eating your PFCs, you're adding your exercise, and you are drinking a lot of water. And we all know how important water is because we touched on that in our 6 components of health as well. And that's why I did that series first, so that you can go back and listen. And why are each one of those? Why did we have a segment, a whole show on just each one of those? I mean, I did a whole show on just water, right? So it tells you how important each one of those things are, rather than cramming them all together and trying to touch on all of them in one little short show. We do need that if you want to stay hydrated. And funny enough, letting people know that they need to stay hydrated in the winter is something we really need to do, because when it's not hot outside, sometimes we forget about it. We think, oh yeah, it's not so bad. It's okay. I can sweat. I'll just grab something when I get home. You need to be drinking it all day long. You need to be continuously supplying your body with those fluids so that your body is sharp and able to flush out the toxins again as well, and have for the brain function and to stay hydrated, whether you're exercising or not, especially if you're exercising. But even if you're not, making sure, ladies, you're getting your 2 to 3 liters a day in. Guys, you're getting your 3 to 4 liters in per day. So if you want to learn more, I'm starting that group. Like I said, in January 29th, it's starting online groups. For people who register on or before January the 18th, you get a smoking deal. Check out my website at fuelignitethrive.com. Thank you for listening today, and we'll catch you again next week on For the Health of It.
You've been listening to For the Health of It with your host, Tania Gustafson. Be sure to join her next week for more great health tips. If you missed any of her shows, you can find them in our podcast archives at OkanaganValleyRadio.com.